What's going on, guys? It's Saturday. It's a little bit of a surprise video because I am making meatballs. Told you guys I would do a video just to show you how I go about doing meatballs. And I'll tell you what I'm throwing in this in just a second. So then I'll show you too. So it's just some minced up onion that I did. Got a little char in there. Nothing too crazy. Those are our onions in there. You can see the color, and I'll show you the ingredients real quick. So we've got 1 whole egg and 1 egg yolk. We've got ground pork straight off the presses or straight out of the grinder from Fatback's Custom in Deltona, Florida. The ground chuck and the ground beef. Some people do 3 meats, generally shit, I put this in the wrong bowl, but it's all right. They'll use this pork and veal, beef, pork, and veal. Generally 3 meats when it comes to meatballs and anything like that. We've also got our minced garlic. Like I said, those eggs. We're not gonna mix it up just yet. Usually I would do something like this way ahead of time. We've also got bread here. We're not gonna use breadcrumbs. We're gonna use bread, and usually I'd let it stale out, so I got this fresh from Publix. However, if you put it under the Hi from Ohio, hello. Hello from Deltona, Florida, or as I like to call it, Satan's taint. It's miserably hot here, so humid. So muggy outside, and it's just unbearable. I think the heat index was like 106. Ah, no, man, we got better. 112 degrees today. All right. So I like doing this with a sourdough, but I didn't have, and they didn't have sourdough at Publix. So we're using a roasted garlic loaf. And like I said, I put this on almost everybody's oven. You should have a keep warm feature. I wish it was raining here. It would cool off considerably, but maybe next week. It's not looking like it's going to rain anytime soon. It's miserable. But usually, like I said, I would use a sourdough loaf, and I want to pull these into small bite-sized pieces. And like I said, on everybody's stove oven, you guys should have a function that says hold, keep warm. And I sliced this into just little slices. I didn't need much, needed about half of the loaf. And this mixed with the egg is going to be our binder. But I like using the sourdough, but this is the roasted garlic. And what I like doing is I pull these in little pieces and then letting whole milk or heavy cream. I don't like using the crust or the outside of it because it's just a little bit too tough. So I like using all the softer parts on the inside. Like I said, they don't have to be perfect. I'm just getting as much as I can in there, and then I'll go back and look at all of the bigger pieces. Right, you want to keep them small. And I'll let this sit in milk for at least 2 or 3 hours prior to making the meatballs because it soaks up all that fat. You squeeze most of it out, it soaks up all that liquid, and it imparts fat back into your meatball, and it helps with not being a dry meatball or a dense meatball. So that's what I like doing with my meatballs. I don't like using breadcrumb unless I absolutely have to, and 90% of the time I don't ever have to because I pick out what I'm making and I go from there. So, wife wanted spaghetti and meatballs, so that's what we're having tonight. I've got some fresh pasta in there I may or may not use. I might make some tagliatelle, which is just a thicker, flatter fettuccine or linguine. So meatball subs or meatballs, just meatballs for spaghetti. Like if I would have had some of those rolls left over, I for sure would have made meatball subs as well. Alright, so like I said, you just want to take enough milk, and you can use heavy cream. You can use half and half. Whole milk is just cheaper. And the reason you want to let it stale is because it absorbs so much more milk. And you're going to squeeze a lot of it out. You can squeeze a lot of this out already once it's soaked up just a little bit. I'm not going to keep them there long. I'm just moving it around, so I'm pushing milk into it. Hopes that by this process I could expedite putting a little bit more liquid into it. All right, like I said, this just helps put fat into your meatball. There's already quite a bit of fat, and whenever you're picking meats for a meatball or something like a burger or something like a meatloaf, you really want something that's like an 80-20 if you're doing burgers or meatloaf. I always put pork in mine in some way. Try to put a little bit of ground pork in there because the fat content helps hold that together with the 80-20. Just clear off my board real quick. You know, if you're trying to go lean, you know, that 93.7 ground beef, you know, you're gonna have to add a shit ton of breadcrumb, a bunch of eggs, and a whole bunch of stuff that just doesn't need to be in there. So like I said, if you guys are doing a burger or a meatloaf, something that needs to be held together, 100% use 80-20 at the bare minimum. All right. Let's go ahead and get our strainer out real quick. So if you guys got any questions, please don't hesitate. What's going on, Ford? I hope you and your family are doing all right. It's been a while. The next time you got some time off and you want to come down to Orlando or the Central Florida area when all this crazy shit's done, hit me up, man. Love to have you and your family over and cook for you guys. So like I said, I like to squeeze most of this liquid out. You won't get all of it out because you don't want to get all of it out. Let me actually dump this so I can use a bigger bowl. The bowl I was supposed to use for my meatballs. Turn this bad boy out real quick. Like I said, pop this thing back in here. We're going to put our breadcrumbs back in there, or our breadcrumbs in air quotes. Now, some people brown theirs in a pan. Some people can deep fry them. I just like taking these and then putting them in a bacon sheet with parchment paper and or aluminum foil or a silicone mat back here, which I have. Works great. I like putting them in a 425 degree oven and letting them go until they are nice and brown. So I let them cook in the sauce, so it doesn't matter if they're, you know, a little medium rare type of thing. All right, so I got about 2 tablespoons worth of salt, black pepper. I don't want to put too much in here because I broke this the other day. I need to get a new one. So it's a little coarse, and I'm going to use dried basil and dried parsley, mainly because they were out of basil and I just didn't feel like cutting fresh herbs today, just for this dish. So dried's perfectly fine when you're in a pinch, or if you're feeling lazy like I am. So we've got some onion powder, about 1.5 tablespoons, maybe a little bit more. So, and then our garlic powder. Get that piece of aluminum out of there though. About 1 tablespoon. You don't want too much of that garlic punch right off the bat. The powder is a lot more potent than the fresh, so just keep that in mind. And now is the worst part. Mixing all of this together. So I've used this time to answer some of your questions. A friend in Germany whose wife would always deep fry. Yeah, deep frying is a really great way. I just changed out this oil the other day, so I don't want to lose it. The only downside of deep frying them is it puts a bunch of fat, puts a bunch of stuff into your oil. Usually, it's just quicker to do them in a deep fryer. That's why I like doing them. But they get nice and crispy too, and they adhere a lot more flavor. Once you start putting them in the sauce, they soak up more because of that nice crusty outer layer. Some people do a spoon, some people do a scoop as far as portioning. I've got my little kitchen scale over here that I wrapped in saran wrap. So that's what your mixture should look like. You know, it should be just a little tacky because you've got that egg, you've got that egg yolk, you got that whole egg in there, and then that fresh bread that we staled out. Like I said, I wrap it in saran wrap so I don't have to sit here and, you know, spray it down with a whole bunch of bleach. I can just clean it down with a regular cleaner after. Plus, you start getting a whole bunch of stuff on there and, you know, just building bacteria. This helps, right? So let's see what this one looks like as far as weight goes. 2.5 ounces. We'll go 2.5 ounces with our meatballs. Like I said, a scale is a perfect tool to use in something like that. That way everything is the same shape or the same weight. They might not be the same shape, but they're meatballs. They're not supposed to be perfect, you know? And this is like the worst part. Some of you guys might tap out just watching me make meatballs and stuff, but it's a necessary evil. It's got to get done. I don't mind doing the prep. So a lot of you guys have, you know, buy, you know, meatballs from the freezer, which is perfectly fine. Do whatever suits you, but, you know, making a meatball is really where it's at. And usually I would take these and brown off, like I'd make a little patty, brown it off, just so I can check the salt content. But I know these are right where it's at. But if you don't feel safe doing that, by all means, make a little patty, fry it in a little frying pan, adjust your seasoning. But I've made these so many times, it's kind of like second nature at this point. So. Plus, you're going to leave these a little bit bigger meatballs than some people might have. However, they are going to shrink considerably once they have cooked in the oven and then cooked in that red sauce that we'll make. And I'm not going to keep you guys on for that because it's the same red sauce I've made with you guys a few different times, you know. So I don't want to take up too much of you guys' time. Plus, me and the wife are gonna go rip some carpet out of the kid's bedroom and redo his floor with some wood flooring while he's out of town with my mom. So kind of need to do the whole set it and forget it type of thing with these. And these are great, and you can take this as is. You know, you can make as little or enough as you like. I've always told you guys you really should have a vacuum sealer in your house. You know, food saver. They work magic. I just bought a whole bunch of meat from Fatback, so I gotta portion that out and bag it up so I can freeze it in my deep freezer. But you could take this dough, you know, uncooked, put it in a vacuum seal bag, you know, and freeze it. Be good for quite some time. So if you don't have a vacuum seal bag, you can, you know, wrap it in a little bit of saran wrap and then put it in a, you know, a Ziploc baggie. It'd be fine. You know, let it hang out in your fridge. I wouldn't let it go for more than, you know, say 2 days tops, because you do have that raw egg component in there. You know, you have that raw meat in there. So, but meatballs save and work just fine in the freezer as well. So this will probably be the last one here. Nope, got one more. I want to handle these as less as possible. Like I said, there's quite a bit of fat in there, so I don't want them to, you know, melt apart, lose a lot of that fat. Plus, you don't really want to work it too much. Just enough to make it into a little ball. That's it. Even spacing. We wash my hands. Now watch how easy this is. You take that saran wrap, peel it right off, and then all you have to do is take a nice hot rag with a little bit of soap. Even though you probably didn't get any on there, you always want to make sure you wipe down all your equipment. Anything raw that touches it, you don't want it on there. So the saran wrap just makes it easier because it doesn't stick like it would to the wood. And that, my friends, is our meatballs. Hopefully, if this did anything, like I said, 425 degree oven, probably about 15-20 minutes. You know, all you really want on your meatball, and this is just me, this is how I do it. I didn't have it on, I wasn't gonna plan on doing a video, so I didn't really go and get one. It's upstairs, I think I got it folded up. But like I said, you want 425, 450, 475, something with enough heat where you're gonna get a nice crust around those. And you don't have to put them on a pan, you can put them on a rack to keep them off and keep the grease off as well. So you can do that if you'd like. You don't have to put them on the cookie sheet. However, it's just I'm not gonna sear them that great in this. I just want a nice color around it, so it's perfectly fine to leave it flat. You don't have to raise it. But if you were trying to get rid of a lot of that fat or a lot of that grease off there and not let them sit in it for just a little bit, racks work just fine. Like I said, you can fry them. Fry them works great. They get real crispy and they absorb a lot of that red sauce that you'll cook them in. Like I said, these are going to get cooked twice, so you'll cook them in the oven and then you'll let them hang out in the red sauce so they absorb all that red sauce, all that good tomato sauce. And serve it with pasta, serve it in some bread for a meatloaf or a meatball sandwich. Thank you for spending some time with me today. Some of you guys have already left out. Shame on you. Some of you guys stuck it out for the duration. Proud of you guys. We've had a blow up really, really big in likes and follows to the page since yesterday and the day before. I think this total like 40 different people have came in. So thank you for anybody that's liked, that hasn't liked, and followed that hasn't followed, and invited that didn't invite before. You can invite your entire friends list to this, and it's up to them if they really want to select, you know, like, follow, anything like that. So thank you. The Ropa Vieja versus arroz con pollo is doing very well. It's not neck and neck, but it's a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. I figured it would go either or to whichever side. And a couple people have commented. If you guys can go on there, what's going on, Sean? Love you too, buddy. Miss you. If you guys can go on there and vote, I encourage you guys to vote. I want you guys to vote. I want you guys to have some kind of say on what I'm gonna do. I think on Fridays, I'm gonna leave Fridays, at least for the next month or so. I'm gonna have you guys decide what I make. It'll be between one or two dishes, two dishes, so you guys can actually have a choice. My wife's laughing at me for some reason. I'm pretty sure I fucked something up. Hey man, I could just do a whole dictatorship on this and just put one up there. But that's nonetheless, you get to see behind the curtains right there. You know, peek back, see what's happening, see who's talking about what. So I really encourage you guys to get on there. And then some of you guys are not as familiar with Facebook as some other people, which is perfectly fine. I am completely ignorant when it comes to technology. My wife and generally my son, my 10-year-old son, I feel like that old guy in the room has to show me shit on a computer, on a tablet, on my phone. It's degrading most times, but nonetheless, when you guys do vote on something like this, in the little like section where you could do a thumbs up, a smiley face, a sad face, an angry face, the emote, the heart, all that different stuff, that's where you guys will go and vote. You'll go in there and you'll put a heart or you'll put a wow face, that type of one, right? Your O face, if you will. Some of you guys will get that later, some of you guys won't. Some of you guys will have to have your kids explain to what I actually meant on that one. Nonetheless, deep cuts, throwing some stuff out there so somebody can get a laugh eventually. But that's how you guys should vote. Go in there. I don't mind comments and all that other stuff. I always respond to everybody's comments. And I try to direct you guys the best that I can. But the reason for this type of post is to create engagement and to create post and page reach. It really helps. The more likes and hearts and smiley faces and all that stuff you get, the more people that see it that aren't attached to this page. It shows up in your feed and other people's feed. It just gets it out there and it's more aware. So thank you for everybody that's been doing that. I really appreciate it. Don't forget, if you guys have not voted yet, please go and vote. Ropa Vieja for a heart or arroz con pollo for a wow face. All it is a pot roast type of stew that's served over rice. I will do black beans. And a roast con pollo is essentially just a Puerto Rican style of a chicken fried rice that the rice isn't really fried. Some of you guys were a little bit confused on some of those dishes, so hopefully this has helped if you are watching this. Like I said, like, share, subscribe, and follow. Check out the blog, check out the YouTube page. All the links are on the page. Thank you for spending roughly 20, 30 minutes maybe, I don't know, with me. I'm going to show you guys how to finish this after, but it's going to be with a picture. It's not going to be with any more live videos for the day. We're going to do not a live video tomorrow, but we will do a video tomorrow with Larry. We're going to do jerk chicken. I haven't made it in quite some time, so he's going to come over. We're going to have the whole 2 things shot up, and that'll be an exclusive video. You can still watch it here. It'll be an exclusive video to YouTube. We're going to start doing those. I'm going to try to do one at least once a month. That way Larry can get better and more apt at editing and doing all this other crazy stuff that he wants to do. And it'll just give you guys something different. It'll be a little bit longer, but it's going to be edited down, and it'll be looking a lot nicer, and I won't stumble as much because hopefully Larry will edit out most of my stumbles that I have, my little stroke moments. But like I said, thank you for spending some time with me. I've already told you guys what to do. You guys know what to do. Holy shit, Alexa's listening. At least I hope it's Alexis, not the CIA or NSA or FBI. That threw me off my game. I wasn't expecting that. Love you too, Grandma. Fuck it, man. We're going to end it here like this. Thanks, guys. Bye.